Welcome back to our spine-chilling series exploring the haunted corners of the Evergreen State, where mist-shrouded forests, rugged mountains, and historic towns conceal stories that defy explanation. In this sixth installment of Most Haunted Places in Washington State, we delve deeper into the shadows cast by ghostly legends, uncovering tales so unnerving they'll leave you questioning the boundaries between the living and the dead. From abandoned asylums steeped in despair to lighthouses perched on desolate coastlines, Washington is a land rich with spectral secrets rooted in sorrow, betrayal, and unrelenting mystery. Washington State's haunted places are more than just locations. They're vessels carrying the echoes of lives lived and lost. These sites bear witness to events that continue to reverberate through time, battles fought on hallowed ground, unspeakable crimes cloaked in secrecy, and the lingering presence of those who refuse to move on. Each place holds its own dark secrets, whispered through creaking floorboards, flickering lights, and disembodied voices that drift through empty halls. Whether you're drawn by morbid curiosity or an insatiable thirst for the supernatural, these destinations promise encounters that blur the line between reality and nightmare. In this episode, we'll journey to some of the most infamous haunted locales across Washington, places steeped in lore and fear, where the past refuses to stay buried. We'll peer into the shadowy depths of haunted mansions, explore eerie swamps cloaked in mystery, and tread cautiously through abandoned institutions teeming with restless spirits. Along the way, we'll hear first-hand accounts from witnesses brave enough to confront the unknown, examine chilling evidence captured by paranormal investigators, and unravel the tragic histories that give rise to these hauntings. So dim the lights, keep your ears sharp, and prepare yourself for a descent into the macabre. As we step into the haunted heart of Washington State, remember, sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil, and once you cross it, there's no turning back. The Thornwood Castle, a Gothic masterpiece haunted by tragedy nestled along the tranquil shores of American Lake near Tacoma, Thornwood Castle stands as a haunting testament to opulence and despair. A sprawling estate built in 1908 by Chester Thorne, one of the founders of the port of Tacoma. With its towering stone facade, intricate stained glass windows imported from England, and sprawling gardens overlooking the water, the castle exudes an air of timeless elegance. Yet beneath its grand exterior lies a darker narrative, one marked by tragedy, betrayal, and the restless spirits of those who once called it home. One of the most enduring legends tied to Thornwood Castle revolves around Kate Thorne, Chester's wife, whose life ended in heartbreaking fashion. Historical records suggest that Kate suffered from severe depression during her later years, exacerbated by the pressures of maintaining such a lavish lifestyle. In 1959, she was found dead inside the castle under mysterious circumstances, leading many to speculate whether her death was accidental or intentional. Since then, visitors and staff alike have reported encountering Kate's ghost wandering the halls, particularly in the library where she spent much of her time. Witnesses described seeing a woman in Victorian attire gazing wistfully out of windows, only to vanish when approached. Others claim to feel an icy draft pass through them as though brushed by unseen hands. Another prominent figure in the castle's haunted lore is believed to be Annie Crawford, a young maid who worked at Thornwood during the early 20th century. According to local legend, Annie fell victim to a forbidden love affair with a groundskeeper, which ended tragically when he disappeared without explanation. Distraught and unable to cope, Annie allegedly took her own life within the castle walls. Her spirit is said to linger in the servant quarters, manifesting as faint sobbing heard late at night and the sound of footsteps pacing restlessly. Some guests staying in rooms adjacent to the area report waking up to find their belongings rearranged inexplicably, as if Annie were tidying up after them. The castle's basement, once used for storage and wine cellars, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with maintaining the space often describe hearing muffled voices and the clinking of glasses, despite no one else being present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a tour guide who swore she saw a young girl playing with marbles in the corner of the room, only for the child to disappear when approached. Theories abound that the girl may have been a victim of illness or accident during the home's early years, forever trapped in the confines of its lower levels. Modern-day investigations into Thornwood Castle's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the main dining room and the basement. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to original owners. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "I'm sorry," and "Let me go." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, Thornwood Castle remains a popular destination for history enthusiasts and thrill-seekers alike. Its picturesque setting and rich history make it a favorite spot for weddings, photography sessions, and leisurely strolls. For those brave enough to venture inside after dark, the promise of encountering Kate Thorne, Annie Crawford, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of fascination and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor steps onto the castle grounds, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to face the echoes of the past, or will they become another chapter in the castle's macabre legacy? The Davenport Hotel. Glamour meets ghosts. Perched majestically in downtown Spokane, the Davenport Hotel stands as a beacon of luxury and elegance, yet its halls whisper secrets of tragedy and unrest. Built in 1914 by Louis Davenport, the hotel quickly became a hub for high society, attracting wealthy travelers, dignitaries, and celebrities from across the globe. Its stunning architecture, adorned with crystal chandeliers, marble floors, and ornate woodwork, reflects the opulence of its era. However, beneath its polished veneer lies a darker history, one steeped in heartbreak, scandal, and the supernatural. One of the most infamous incidents tied to the Davenport Hotel occurred in room 1111, said to be haunted by the spirit of a jilted lover named Elizabeth. According to local lore, Elizabeth checked into the hotel in the early 20th century under the pretense of meeting her fiancé, only to discover he had abandoned her for another woman. Overcome with grief, she took her own life in the room, leaving behind a legacy of sorrow that continues to haunt visitors today. Guests staying in room 1111 frequently report strange occurrences: lights turning on and off by themselves, radios tuning to static-filled stations, and the overwhelming scent of lavender lingering in the air. Some claim to wake up in the middle of the night to find their bedsheets tangled impossibly tight around their limbs, as if restrained by invisible hands. Another prominent figure in the hotel's haunted lore is believed to be Captain John Smith, a World War I veteran who frequented the property during his final days. Paranormal investigators exploring the inn have captured EVP recordings suggesting the presence of a male entity whispering phrases like, "retreat," and "hold the line." Witnesses described seeing a shadowy figure resembling Captain Smith pacing anxiously near windows, clutching what appears to be a cane before vanishing without a trace. The hotel's basement, once used for storage and laundry operations, has become a focal point of paranormal activity. Employees tasked with cleaning the area often describe hearing chains rattling and heavy footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Some claim to see shadowy figures dragging invisible loads, their movements jerky and unnatural. A particularly chilling account comes from a maintenance worker who swore he felt cold metal cuffs snap around his wrists, pulling him backward toward the darkness before releasing him abruptly. Overnight visitors to the Davenport Hotel frequently recount bizarre experiences that defy logical explanation. Lights flicker unpredictably, especially in hallways leading to the older sections of the building. Doors slam shut on their own, and the scent of cigar smoke wafts through the air despite the hotel's strict no-smoking policy. One guest described waking up to find his reflection in the mirror staring back at him, but not quite matching his movements, as if another entity stood behind him, mimicking his actions. Another recounted seeing a man in a dusty soldier's uniform standing at the foot of her bed, his hollow eyes boring into hers before vanishing without a sound. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Davenport Hotel remains a popular destination for history enthusiasts and thrill-seekers alike. Its rich tapestry of human drama, interwoven with tragedy and loss, creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to book a stay, the possibility of encountering Elizabeth, Captain Smith, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. The Crescent Theater. Echoes of applause and anguish tucked away in the heart of Everett, Washington, the Crescent Theater stands as a relic of cinematic grandeur and spectral sorrow. Built in 1923, this Art Deco gem served as a cultural epicenter for decades, hosting everything from silent films to vaudeville performances. Its marquee lights illuminated the streets, drawing crowds eager to escape into worlds of fantasy and romance. Yet beneath its glamorous exterior lay a darker narrative, one marked by tragedy, betrayal, and the lingering presence of those who refuse to fade quietly into oblivion. One of the most pervasive legends tied to the Crescent Theater centers around Stella Monroe, a celebrated actress who graced its stage during the 1930s. Known for her magnetic performances and fiery personality, Stella's career came to an abrupt end when she fell victim to a devastating fire backstage. Though she survived the blaze, her injuries left her unable to perform, and she eventually vanished from public life altogether. Locals believe her spirit haunts the theater, forever seeking redemption for her lost dreams. Visitors attending shows or exploring the venue report hearing faint applause echoing through empty halls, accompanied by the sound of heels clicking rhythmically against the wooden floors. Some claim to see a woman in vintage clothing gliding silently across the stage, her expression frozen in eternal anguish. Another prominent figure in the theater's haunted lore is believed to be Thomas Hargrove, a janitor who worked at the Crescent during its decline in the mid-20th century. Described as a quiet but troubled man, Thomas allegedly took his own life inside the building after struggling with personal demons. His ghost is said to roam the corridors, manifesting as a cold breeze that sweeps through even the warmest rooms. Witnesses describe seeing a shadowy figure pushing a mop bucket down the aisles, only for it to disappear when approached. Others report hearing low muttering and the sound of keys jangling, as though someone is locking doors that no longer exist. The theater's projection booth, long abandoned since the advent of digital technology, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Paranormal investigators exploring the space have captured EVP recordings of disembodied voices pleading, "Help me," and "Turn the lights back on." Thermal cameras reveal significant temperature drops in the booth, creating an oppressive chill that lingers even after leaving the area. One particularly unsettling discovery came when a team member set up motion-activated cameras overnight, capturing footage of a translucent figure standing motionless in front of the projector before vanishing without explanation. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, the Crescent Theater continues to attract curious souls eager to confront its spectral inhabitants. For many, visiting the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the sacrifices made in pursuit of art and entertainment. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its haunting beauty or the weight of its tragic legacy, the Crescent Theater offers an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into oblivion. The Northern State Hospital, shadows of madness perched amidst the rolling hills of Sedrowilly, Washington. The Northern State Hospital stands as a grim reminder of humanity's attempts to grapple with mental illness and the horrors that can arise when compassion gives way to neglect. Established in 1912, the facility initially aimed to provide humane care for patients suffering from psychiatric disorders, utilizing innovative therapies and expansive grounds designed to promote healing. At its peak, the hospital housed over 2,700 patients, making it one of the largest institutions of its kind in the Pacific Northwest. Yet, as decades passed, overcrowding, underfunding, and unethical practices transformed it into a breeding ground for despair, abuse, and untimely deaths. One of the most infamous incidents tied to Northern State Hospital involves Ward C, a secluded unit reserved for patients deemed too dangerous or unstable for general care. Historical records indicate that experimental treatments, ranging from electroshock therapy to lobotomies, were performed here with little regard for patient consent or safety. Many believe the spirits of these victims still haunt the ward, their anguished cries echoing through empty corridors. Visitors exploring the decaying structure report hearing faint screams and the sound of rattling chains, as though someone is struggling against restraints. Some claim to see shadowy figures huddled in corners, their faces obscured by darkness, while others describe feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them as they approach the site. Another haunting figure associated with the hospital is believed to be Dr. Henry Langdon, a controversial psychiatrist who oversaw operations during the mid-20th century. Known for his authoritarian demeanor and questionable methods, Dr. Langdon reportedly pushed the limits of medical ethics, conducting experiments that left patients permanently scarred, both physically and emotionally. His ghost is said to wander the administration building, his ethereal form clad in a white coat. Guests visiting the ruins have reported seeing a pale man pacing restlessly near office windows, his expression frozen in eternal anguish. Others describe hearing faint whispers of names being called, as though someone is conducting rounds. The hospital's cemetery, located on the outskirts of the property, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Marked by rows of simple, numbered headstones, the burial ground serves as the final resting place for countless patients whose identities were erased by institutional bureaucracy. Visitors walking among the graves often feel an inexplicable sense of dread, as though unseen eyes are watching their every move. Shadows flit across peripheral vision, disappearing when directly observed. Some claim to hear disembodied voices calling out names unfamiliar to modern ears, believed to be the voices of those buried without proper markers. Others report seeing apparitions of men and women in period clothing, their faces gaunt and weary, standing silently amidst the stones. Paranormal investigators exploring Northern State Hospital have documented numerous instances of unexplained phenomena. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near Ward C and the cemetery. EVP recordings capture faint whispers pleading for help, interspersed with anguished cries. One investigator captured a chilling photograph of a translucent figure standing in the doorway of the administration building, its hands raised as if begging for mercy. These findings have solidified the site's reputation as one of Washington State's most active haunted locations. Despite, or perhaps because of, its grim history, Northern State Hospital continues to attract curious souls eager to confront its spectral inhabitants. For many, visiting the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the systemic failures that led to such widespread suffering. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its haunting beauty or the weight of its tragic legacy, Northern State Hospital offers an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into oblivion. As we traverse the haunted landscapes of Washington State, from the opulent halls of the Davenport Hotel to the somber grounds of Northern State Hospital, striking similarities emerge that transcend individual locations and histories. These patterns are not merely coincidental but reflect universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the wailing wards of hospitals to the shadowed basements of theaters, these sites share a commonality that binds them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of unethical experiments, or the betrayed trust of patients subjected to inhumane treatments, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic buildings, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: operating rooms where surgeries went awry, basements where bodies were stored, or wards where patients met tragic ends. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing guests to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from various haunted hotels, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each location's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The brutal medical practices embedded in the DNA of older establishments contrast sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized in urban legends. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted places transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. The psychology of fear. Why haunted places captivate us? What is it about haunted places that grips our imaginations so profoundly? Beyond the creaking floorboards and flickering lights lies a deeper allure, one rooted in the psychology of fear and the human fascination with the unknown. These sites, by their very nature, are places of vulnerability. They are where we confront our mortality, stripped of autonomy and control, relying entirely on the expertise of others to heal us, or where justice was denied, leaving wounds that refuse to heal. When these spaces become haunted, they amplify our primal fears, transforming familiar settings into arenas of existential dread. The combination of historical context, architectural design, and the lingering presence of past suffering creates a perfect storm of terror that resonates deeply within us. The core of this captivation is the concept of liminality, the state of being on the threshold between two worlds. Haunted places exist in this liminal space, bridging life and death, health and illness, hope and despair. This inherent duality makes them fertile ground for supernatural narratives. Ghosts, as manifestations of unresolved trauma or unfinished business, embody the tension of being caught between states. They serve as reminders that the boundaries we construct, between life and afterlife, sanity and madness, are far more permeable than we'd like to believe. For many, visiting a haunted site feels like stepping into a twilight zone where the rules of reality no longer apply, igniting both curiosity and unease. Architecturally, haunted places contribute to this atmosphere of dread through their design. Long, sterile hallways lined with identical doors create a sense of disorientation, while poor lighting and echoing acoustics heighten sensory awareness. These features mimic the psychological effects of anxiety and claustrophobia, making even mundane sounds, a distant cough, the hum of fluorescent lights, feel ominous. The labyrinthine layouts of older structures, with their hidden wings and underground tunnels, evoke feelings of entrapment and uncertainty. Every corner becomes a potential threat, every shadow a possible harbinger of danger. This environmental manipulation taps into our instinctual fight-or-flight response, keeping us perpetually on edge. Cultural influences also play a significant role in shaping our fascination with haunted places. Media representations, from films like The Shining to television series such as American Horror Story, have cemented the trope of the haunted asylum, courthouse, or battlefield as a locus of horror. These portrayals often blend historical truths with fictional embellishments, creating a mythology that blurs fact and fiction. Audiences are drawn to these stories because they reflect societal anxieties about institutional power, systemic injustice, and the fragility of the human mind. Haunted places become microcosms of larger fears, the loss of agency, the misuse of authority, and the haunting specter of mistakes made in the name of progress. Moreover, haunted places appeal to our desire for catharsis. Engaging with these tales allows us to process our own fears about mortality, injustice, and the flaws inherent in systems meant to protect us. By confronting ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena, we externalize internal anxieties, transforming abstract fears into tangible adversaries. This vicarious experience provides a safe outlet for exploring the darker aspects of human existence, offering both thrill and relief. It's no wonder that ghost tours and paranormal investigations of haunted places attract participants eager to test their courage against the unknown. Ultimately, the enduring allure of haunted places lies in their ability to mirror our deepest fears while challenging our understanding of reality. They remind us that the past is never truly buried, that pain and injustice leave indelible marks on both people and places. As we walk their haunted halls, we are forced to confront not only the spirits said to inhabit them but also the ghosts within ourselves, the regrets, doubts, and unanswered questions that linger long after the wounds have healed. In doing so, we find a strange comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our fears, that others have walked these same paths and emerged, shaken but alive, to tell their stories. As we bring this chilling journey through Washington State's most haunted places to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the spirits of the past refuse to be silenced. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a testament to lives lived, lost, and lingering in the spaces we dare to call haunted. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the relentless passage of time. They remind us that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and that sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of Washington State's haunted places yourself. Walk the same halls where spirits are said to roam, stand in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these forsaken institutions offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond comprehension. There's nothing quite like experiencing the weight of decades-old despair firsthand, feeling the chill of a presence that defies explanation, or hearing the faint strains of voices from another time. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint tap of footsteps in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Share your findings with fellow enthusiasts, document your journey, and keep the conversation alive. After all, every whisper contributes to the symphony of the supernatural. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.